Can a $59 EDC kit actually be any good? You're probably expecting cheap steel, zippers that fail within a week, and a flashlight that dies the first time you actually need it. And honestly, most of the time you'd be right. Most budget gear is just landfill waiting to happen. But today, we're testing an entire everyday carry loadout: pouch, knife, flashlight, multi-tool, and essential EDC items, all coming in under $60. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. This is Off-Duty EDC, where I test gear from a real-world perspective so you don't waste your money. If that sounds useful, hit subscribe, and don't forget to like and share. It actually helps the channel more than you'd think. I've been carrying this kit on and off for about 2 weeks to see how it holds up in actual daily use, not just on a table. If you've ever struggled to tell the difference between budget gear and straight up garbage, this video is going to draw that line very clearly. Today's breakdown is simple. We'll start with specs, move into real-world performance, and finish with the good, the bad, and the ugly. No fluff, just what you need to know, and make sure you watch to the end because there was one item in this kit that genuinely surprised me, for better or worse. So let's find out if we just wasted $59 or if this is one of the rare budget kits that actually earns its place in your pocket. All right, let's start with the pouch. This is a generic pouch I picked up on AliExpress for about $15. If you put this side by side with something like the Maxpedition or the Viperade, the first thing you're going to notice is the density is lower, and it is. The nylon here is around 500D, not a 1000D like some of the higher end options. But for a budget kit, efficiency comes first. The layout gives you 2 vertical pockets and a horizontal divider, which lets you separate tools so they're not scratching against each other. The zipper is unbranded, but it has a decent pull. Inside, you've got a high visibility orange lining. We've talked about this before. High contrast interiors are critical in low light situations. Drop a black screw into a black pouch and it's gone. Here you can actually see what you're working with. The elastic retention is tight, maybe a little too tight at first, but it will break in. For $15, this pouch is utility first. It's not trying to be a fashion statement. It's trying to keep your gear from exploding all over the center console. It holds the kit together securely, and that's the main metric we're judging here. All right, moving on to the knife. This is the centerpiece of the $59 budget. It's a generic folding utility knife you'd find in almost any hardware store. I picked this Mastercraft one up at Canadian Tire, and honestly, it does the job. It's a manual deployment. The pivot is surprisingly smooth for this price point. The lockup is solid and there's no blade play. That's critical because safety matters. If you're comparing budget versus premium, this right here is my Peachy G9 titanium utility knife. This really comes down to finish versus function. The premium knife has polished finishes and smooth scales. This budget blade has sharper edges on the handle and feels rougher in hand, but that's kind of the point. It's meant for job site work. Looking at the edge geometry, it's flat, it grinds well, and it slices efficiently. For everyday tasks, opening boxes, cutting materials, the performance gap isn't nearly as wide as the price gap suggests. It cuts, it locks, and with the replaceable blade, it stays sharp for a reasonable amount of time. I paid about $10 for this knife. The Peachy G9 was around $180. That's the real comparison here. Price versus efficiency. Next up, illumination. I picked this up on Amazon. It's a lumen top single AAA twisty light around $10. Output is rated at 120 lumens. That's not going to search a field, but for administrative tasks, it's more than enough. It has a glow-in-the-dark sleeve that protects the light, and it's simple: twist on, twist off. This is what I carry in this kit. For the multi-tool, it's just basic, about $15. I keep it secured with an elastic band. It has non-spring-loaded pliers, a small knife, screwdrivers, your basic set of tools. It's all stainless steel, but it definitely feels like a lower quality build, and that's expected at this price. When you put it next to something like my Leatherman Skeletool, the difference is obvious. Just the weight alone tells the story. You're not cranking on a rusted bolt with this. The steel is softer and it'll twist if you push it too hard. But for quick fixes, tightening screws, grabbing hot metal, cutting zip ties, it works. Now let's go through what's actually in the pouch. Starting right to left, I've got a simple memo pad for notes. You can get these cheap on Amazon. Next is a basic pen, nothing special, about $1. I always carry some kind of string. This is just an old lace from a pair of shorts, so it was free. Here's a small medical kit, aspirin, band-aids, alcohol swabs, just enough for minor issues. Next is a basic sewing kit, bobby pins, thread, and a needle. If I need to fix a rip or tear, I've got options. I also keep a pair of cheap nail clippers. I can't stand long nails, so these stay in the kit. This here is my fire kit. The container is an old pill bottle, no cost. I've wrapped duct tape around it, so if I need tape, it's there. Inside, I've got paper towel for tinder, standard matches, and a strike pad. Simple and reliable. In the back, I carry biodegradable hand wipes. You can find these on Amazon or at Walmart. It's just nice to have something to clean up with. In the front pocket, I keep extra paper towels. You can never really have too many. We ran this kit for a week. Now let's talk about real-world use. The pouch is bulky. It doesn't disappear in your pocket like a clip carry, but everything is there in one grab-and-go package. The knife was used to break down heavy recycling. It held its edge all week without needing a blade swap. The flashlight got used at work and at home. 120 lumens is plenty for checking fluid levels or looking under a seat. The twist activation does require 2 hands, which is a disadvantage tactically, but for admin use, it's fine. The multi-tool saved me 2 trips to the toolbox, once tightening a loose plate on my truck and once pulling a staple out of paperwork. It's not pretty, but it worked. So let's break it down. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, value. You get a complete system for less than the price of a single entry-level brand name knife. The knife action and pouch organization punch well above their weight. The bad, the multi-tool is barely functional, and the flashlight has a very cool blue-tinted beam that can wash out colors when you're trying to identify wiring or fluids. The ugly, the pouch zipper, it didn't fail, but it snagged around corners. In a high-stress situation, fighting your gear is a failure point. So what's the verdict? This is entry-level utility. It's not duty grade, and I wouldn't trust my life to the multi-tool or light in a tactical environment. But for 95% of civilian EDC tasks, yes, it's efficient. It works, and it doesn't drain your wallet. For under $60, you're better equipped than most people walking around with nothing. If you want links to the gear, they're below, and if you want to see how this compares to higher-end options, click the videos on screen. I'll see you in the next one.